Happy International Women's Day to everyone watching this. So my name is Ruby. I'm the CEO and co-founder of WUKA. So we make period pants that completely replace the need for disposable tampons and pads. So it's just an underwear. You wear it, it absorbs the blood, doesn't let it leak. You take it off, wash it, and repeat the process. And the period pants last you up to more than up to 2 years. It depends on how you look after it. A little bit about me. So I came from Nepal nearly 12 years ago now. It feels really long time. But when I was growing up, I had a completely different experience to how people in the West have the period. So Nepal is quite notoriously famous for a tradition called chopadi, where women and girls are banished for bleeding. So in the far western part of Nepal, this is quite extreme cases. So that the girls and women are not even allowed to stay at home, and you're forced to sit outside in a cowshed or a menstrual hut. Quite a lot of girls and women die because of that. A, either because of like snake bites, or B, because they are trying to keep themselves warm, and during this process, the hut are quite small, so they suffocate and die. I grew up in eastern part of Nepal where uh, things were slightly different, I would say. So on my first period, when I was at 12, I was sent to my aunt's house and said that, okay, and my mom literally handed me like some old saris cut into square pieces and said like, these are your menstrual product. And for your first period, you're not allowed to stay at home because you're not allowed to see dad, you're not allowed to go kitchen, so you have to somewhere segregated on your own. Went to my aunt's house, and basically I was like a prisoner for 8 days. Didn't get to go out and play with my cousins, my sisters. The food was passed on the floor. Very, especially I think 12-year-old, 13-year-old, you are just being so conscious around everything around you, and then to be thrown into the deep end where there is no support and help, it's quite daunting. Like even thinking about it is quite like it's painful. And But after my first period, then that started happening in my house every month for 4 days. You're not allowed to go to the kitchen. You can't even serve water for yourself. So and this happens still now till date. I remember growing up with my mom, seeing my mom sleep on the floor every time she has a period, and then my dad used to sleep on the bed. And these days I say like it should be the other way around. um,
Absolutely.
but Yeah, it totally different experience of having period. And it's quite common in like Asian culture actually. So whether you go to Nepal or India, Bangladesh, Pakistan, it's quite common, this stigma and taboo around period, and this whole idea of segregation is quite common. So I studied health and social care in the beginning, and found it very difficult. And I think it would be one of the most emotional job role for anyone in health and social care. Couldn't do it. So I decided to go into environmental science because I was quite passionate about science in the beginning when I was in Nepal as well. So but it was after graduation. The graduation process, I found it quite hard because I did open university, um, and it was everything online. You didn't get to meet your peers. So it really taught me this lesson of like determinations and resilience and like following your passion kind of thing. So as soon as I graduated, I was like quite keen to find a job in environmental sector. And as a part of that, like I started hunting for jobs. Being an immigrant, again, here this comes about like there is a huge struggle for, regardless you graduate with a similar kind of people within your sector, being an immigrant, there's always some kind of drawback. um, I used to be not as confident and as fluent as I am at the moment, but and I didn't get any job. Like for a year and a half, I was just like knocking doors and stuff. Then I started working in volunteer sectors, and doing just volunteering, so that I can get my foot into the company and organizing. So I worked in Plan International, Women's Environmental Network, and while I was doing that, a proposal came on Sainsbury's. I think they had this £1 million pot of money, and they were giving to like community to see if they wanted to do any environmental projects around it. So I just did like a 500 words pitch, and I said like, oh, I want to teach kids about food waste um, in the schools. So I applied for it, and I got a grant of I think 36,000 pounds, and that was like mind blowing for me. Like somebody would trust me, kind of thing. So I started my career more into like the environmental sector, and while I was doing that, I was also volunteering at Women's Environmental Network. Because I had my foot inside the school, then I could go and talk to kids about not just food waste, any kind of like environmental issues. So as a part of it, I went to Samuel Ryder School here in St Albans and spoke with over 40 girls. And I was talking to them about reusable menstrual product and have they heard about them. I think only one or two of the 40 had heard about a cup or a cloth pad. And the school has quite a BME background. So it was the BME community, actually, their parents used the cloth pads. That I used to do with my cloth pad was like I used to pin the pad in my pants so that they didn't move or shift. And in doing so, they used to be fixed in the underwear. So I was talking to the girls, and literally I had this moment like, oh my God, I literally could take a pad and sew it in the pants and make it like a period pants so that it didn't move, it didn't shift. It's super easy to wear for even 10-year-old. So on the way back home, bought a secondhand sewing machine, put on the YouTube and learned how to thread a sewing machine and started making my own pants. And it all started there. Yes. So the journey had just been like up since we started. Did a Kickstarter campaign in 2017, got fully funded without any friends or family support, like totally person that I never knew was like reading my story and reading what I wanted to create and then just investing on us since the very beginning. Um, so the first 2 years, it was just me and one person as a customer service team. So I just wanted to learn the trades around like how to run a business, and there is so many parts to it. And I basically learned on the job everything from marketing to logistic to supply chain to finding stockist and all this kind of thing. So now we are fourth year. We have a team of 14 people. We did our first supermarket in 2020, and now we are in stock in like Morrison's, Superdrug, Planet Organic, Sainsbury's, you name it. And not only that, we also support 90 odd small stockists, and which we find absolutely amazing because almost 90% of all of our stockists are female-led brands or businesses. So incredible to support those communities, but also they already have created this community around them who are like super eco-conscious, super health and beauty conscious. So basically, it just made my job easier to tap into their audience and provide WUKA for them. My investors are every single customer who ever bought WUKA, like
Right.
literally. So since the day one up until today, they are my investors, they are my customer, they are my customer service, customer survey, everything, like the business has just been around people who have loved the product, told 10 of their friends, and then their 10 of the friends have told more and loved it. It had just grown that way. We are creating a women's health space. So not only we sell the product, but we also quite a lot of the time talk about issues around women's health, talk about like International Women's Day. This year we are talking about, so we actually sponsored Welsh Rugby Club. And today we announced that, so that's why I'm on the jersey. The girls have signed my t-shirt.
Excellent. Excellent. I love it.
Yeah, so we are talking about those gender visibility in sports, anything that can support women up the ladder. That's who we are and what we really love to do. So no, funding wise, no, but I have I've been to quite a few of the funding pitches and stuff, not myself, but in a room. And pretty much, I think I went to 4 of them. 3 of them had only like 4 women in the room, and everybody else was men. And when you look at their pitch is like, for the next 6 years, you'll just be making loss in the business. And people still invest. I'm like,
Yeah.
And then there are like women who are making profitable business since the day one, and they still don't get the investment. Just don't get it. One thing since the day one that I've learned is like, do not be shy, do not be ashamed, do not feel awkward asking help. This is one thing. And I think I I have been pretty blunt and quite a lot of the time, and I'll just go and say like, what I need rather than like just being like coy about it. And that is definitely, I would say, even yesterday I was when I was talking with Katie Brindle, I was saying like, you can literally DM me if you are running a business and if you are stuck somewhere, you can DM me anytime and I can send you a voice note, even more less, like maybe that will give you a pointer or something like that. And I got like flurry of 5-6 DMs after that. Just like, how did you do the branding? How did you do this kind of thing? So and you should never be scared to ask. And that's I think one of the biggest thing that I've learned is like, people are there anytime to help you, whether that's a male person or a female person. You just have to go and ask them. And I would say that is one thing. And don't be ashamed of like asking. Like, nothing is like a wrong question, like everybody's in a different stages of business and stuff. You don't expect everybody to know all the language around business, and certainly I didn't, and I still don't understand half of the things. And we work with some of the agency, and then they are just going blabbing about like all the language, and I'm like, I have no clue what you're talking about, so you need to give me like a simple language, to
Yeah.
understand and all this. So you just have to tell them like, have you understood or not, and ask the questions all the time. So the dream of WUKA is to be in a world where every girl can access and afford period pants. That is my dream, and not just here in the West, but in the East. No girl should miss out on the school. No girl should wear an ill-fitted underwear and leak everywhere. This is our main vision for WUKA is, and we want to be a household name. That is another thing. Like, when next time somebody says periods, you go to the supermarket and say like, where is my WUKA? Where can I find WUKA? That's the goal.
We hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, leave us a like and don't forget to subscribe. And why not check out some more videos on our channel.